Have you ever been everyone's favorite person, the one people call when they need something? The one everyone says, "Oh, he's such a good guy," about. But when it came to real opportunities, real love, real moments of being truly chosen, you were always passed over? Have you ever been so agreeable, so careful never to offend anyone, that somewhere along the way you lost track of who you actually are? If that's you, this story is for you. Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a young man named Caleb. Ask anyone in the village, the old men at the general store, the women at the market, the children playing in the dirt roads at dusk, they'd all say the same thing. Caleb, that boy has the kindest heart in this whole village. And they meant it. Caleb said yes to every favor. He agreed with every opinion in the room, even when something inside him quietly pushed back. He laughed at every joke. He rearranged his own plans without complaint. He made himself easy, frictionless, available, always. He had perfected the art of being liked. But something else was also true, something nobody said out loud. When the village elder, Mr. Hayes, needed a young man to represent the community at the county council, he didn't choose Caleb. He chose Aaron, blunt, opinionated, the kind of man who sometimes rubbed people the wrong way. But Mr. Hayes told his wife quietly that night, "I need someone who will hold their ground when it matters. Aaron will hold. Caleb will agree with whoever is standing closest to him." Caleb heard about it secondhand. He smiled and said Aaron was a good choice. Then he sat alone on his porch until dark. And then there was Ellie. Ellie was warm and sharp-minded, with a laugh the whole yard could hear. Caleb had cared for her quietly for 2 years, fixing things before she asked, always showing up when she needed someone. She knew. Of course she knew. One evening, she came and sat beside him on the stone wall outside his house. The sun was going down behind the hills. "Caleb," she said carefully, "you are one of the kindest people I've ever known. I mean that." He could already hear what was coming. "But I've never once seen you want something badly enough to say so. I don't know what makes you angry. I don't know what you'd refuse no matter what. When I reach for you, I find someone who is already moved to wherever I am, and I can't tell if that's love or if that's just a person with no place of their own." Even then, in the most important conversation of his life, Caleb couldn't find words that were purely his own. Ellie squeezed his hand and walked down the path without looking back. Weeks later, she began courting a man from the next village, stubborn, opinionated, difficult according to the women, respected according to the men. Ellie looked genuinely happy. Caleb stood on his porch that night and stared at nothing. He had been kind. He had never hurt anyone, never demanded anything. By every measure he'd been taught, he had been a good man. So why did the world keep walking past him? One evening, heavy with questions he couldn't answer, he walked to the river at the edge of the village and sat on the bank. Without meaning to, he said it out loud. "What is wrong with me?" "Nothing is wrong with you," said an old man Caleb had never seen before, white-haired, unhurried, still as the landscape around him. "But nothing is fully right yet either," said the old man. "Sit down, son." Caleb sat. And then, without fully understanding why, he told the old man everything. The council seat, Ellie walking away, the years of being present for everyone and still being invisible when things that mattered were being handed out. The old man listened completely. When Caleb finished, the old man reached into his satchel and pulled out 2 identical candles. He set them on the rock and lit them both. 2 small flames rose in the dark. "Now," said the old man, "every time the wind blows, tilt your candle toward it. Lean in, accommodate it." Caleb frowned. "That will put it out." "Try it," said the old man. A breeze came off the river. Caleb tilted his candle into it, leaning the flame toward the wind, bending to meet it. It went out. The old man's candle kept burning. "Light it again, same thing." 3 more times the wind came. 3 more times Caleb tilted toward it. 3 more times his flame died. Each time the old man's candle, upright, unwavering, held. "Now," said the old man, "hold it straight. When the wind comes, hold your position." Caleb lit the candle once more. The breeze returned, stronger this time, pushing across the water with intent. Every instinct in Caleb wanted to lean, to adjust, to give way. He held the candle straight. The flame bent, struggled, looked for a moment like it might not survive, but it held. Gust after gust, the flame fought, recovered, and kept burning. The old man spoke quietly. "What do you notice?" "When I leaned into the wind," said Caleb slowly, "it went out every time. When I held my position, it survived." "The wind didn't stop coming," said the old man. "Holding the candle straight didn't make things easy. The flame still bent, still struggled." He looked at Caleb steadily. "Caleb, you have spent years tilting your flame into every wind that passed near you. Every opinion, every preference, every person who seemed uncomfortable with who you actually are. You bent, you leaned, you accommodated, and every single time, you went out." His voice was not unkind. "You kept going out, and then wondered why people couldn't find warmth in you, why they kept walking past you to someone else, not understanding that the very thing you thought was making you lovable, your endless bending, your refusal to hold a position, was the thing making it impossible for anyone to truly rely on you." He leaned forward. "Mr. Hayes couldn't choose you because he couldn't find you. Ellie didn't leave because you were too kind. She left because she couldn't find the edges of you. And a person cannot build a life against something that has no edges." Caleb went home that night and didn't sleep. He thought about every time he had leaned, every truth he had softened before it left his mouth, every version of himself he had quietly retired so the room could stay comfortable. He had told himself it was kindness. He understood now it had been disappearing. In the months that followed, he changed, not loudly, from the inside, the way a fire builds before the light becomes visible. He began saying what he actually thought, clearly, calmly. He said no and stayed in his own body afterwards without guilt. At village meetings, when he disagreed, he said so and held the position. Some people drifted away. He let them. But the people who stayed differently, with weight, with intention. Mr. Hayes stopped him on the road one afternoon. "I want you at the next county council, Caleb. I need someone in that room who'll say the true thing, not the comfortable thing." Caleb looked at him. "I'll be there," he said simply, without rushing to make the man feel good about his choice. Mr. Hayes nodded and walked on. And at the harvest gathering, Caleb met Grace, a schoolteacher, direct, entirely uninterested in saying things she didn't mean. She asked his opinion on something, and he gave it to her honestly, without calculation. She tilted her head. "Most people here just tell me what they think I want to hear," she said. "I used to do that," Caleb said. "What changed?" He thought about the river, the 2 candles, the wind. "I stopped tilting," he said. She stayed and talked with him until the fire burned low. The more you tilt your flame into every wind that passes, the more you go out. And you stand there in the dark, wondering why no one can find your light, not realizing you were the one extinguishing it, one small accommodation at a time, one swallowed truth at a time. You are not meant to be comfortable for everyone. You are meant to burn. And burning, real, sustained, trustworthy burning, requires you to hold your position, to stay upright when the wind comes. The world does not choose what accommodates it. The world chooses what holds. So stop tilting. Hold your position. Stay lit. The right people are not looking for a flame that moves with the wind. They are looking for a light they can find in the dark. Be that light.